Environment groups claim federal laws are being breached by the continuing dredging of Lakes Entrance. The federal government has confirmed it's investigating whether the dredging has had an adverse impact on the Gippsland Lakes wetlands. Gippsland Ports is fighting the claim and says it's confident all the statutory requirements are being fulfilled. Cheryl Hall went to the lakes for this story.
It's 2 years since the entrance to Australia's biggest lake system was deepened, making Lakes Entrance safe and putting local fishermen back in business.
It's fair to say we were finished. We had 3 weeks of no fish. Half the fleet was locked out in Eden and half the fleet was locked into the port. They couldn't enter or exit the port. Immediately after the dredging campaign, we had 750,000 more kilos enter into the port because of the larger boats that hadn't been able to enter the port. They were able to return, so the co-op had an immediate benefit.
But the dredging is controversial. Some blame it for this, a plague of European shore crab known as the cane toad of the sea. The dredging in 2008 was followed up twice, in July 2009 and then again last month. Now a Gippsland Environment group says the continued dredging of the entrance may have been illegal.
The dredging should have ceased in September 2008. It is our belief, and the belief of the Environmental Defenders Office, that the dredging was done without authority and therefore breaches the Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act.
The Environmental Defenders Office, or EDO as it's known, is a community legal centre practising in public interest environment law. It has reported an alleged breach of the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Act to the Department of Environment. The EDO says we can find no evidence of a referral to the department for this dredging. Gippsland Ports may have breached the EPBC Act.
They've breached the Act if the dredging has or is likely to have a significant impact on threatened species or migratory species.
What was the reaction of the department when you raised the complaint?
In this particular case, they agreed pretty much, within days of receiving our complaint, that they would go and investigate the matter. We haven't heard back from the department since then, so we don't know what they've found, but I think the fact that they're investigating it means that they're taking it seriously.
In its response, Gippsland Ports denies it has dredged without approval.
We are aware of the allegations and we're very confident that we're not in breach of any of our statutory obligations.
The Gippsland Lakes are the largest inland freshwater lakes system in Australia and are listed under the Ramsar Convention, an international treaty for the protection of wetlands. The Gippsland Environment Group believes the deepened entrance has allowed more salt water to pour into the lakes and create the perfect marine environment for the European shore crab, an introduced pest that's now been found in huge numbers throughout the lake system. Ross Day is a commercial lakes fisherman who's given up trying to catch fish. He's harvesting the crabs and selling them to Asian restaurants in Melbourne.
We've been fishing for over 12 months now, and from financial year to financial year we've got 20,715 kilos up to date.
So what does that tell you about the lakes?
We're very marine. We're certainly not an estuary no more.
Almost immediately, from the time the entrance was deepened, we here in Duck Arm started to notice a difference in salinity. They can live in salt water, obviously, and that's what's moved them up the lake chain. They will not survive in fresh water. There's nothing they won't eat.
Some farmers are also worried. They say prime farmland surrounding the lakes at Bairnsdale is underwater and other land has been affected by salt.
Today we look at it with a salt wedge incursion that has actually taken it out of production totally.
But Gippsland Ports and the fishermen using the entrance argue it was first opened 130 years ago and the increased salt levels are the result of low river flows into the lakes.
I remember that the ingress of salt used to go right up towards Meetung and those places back in those days, and it was a good healthy environment back then, and I think it was sort of going back to what we had in years gone by.
There are many opinions as to whether there are a horde of crabs marching towards Loch Sport, 1 kilometre wide and 1 metre deep. and there are various opinions as to whether the lakes are more saline or less saline. What we rely upon is scientific evidence, and my recommendation is that others pursue the scientific evidence.
Gippsland Ports has submitted its response to the government, denying it's breached the Act. Whatever the outcome, it'll be making a new application to continue dredging on an annual basis.
We're not dredging to create a bigger, wider, larger entrance. Basically what we're doing is maintaining the navigability of the entrance at historic levels so that there is some degree of reliability.
We definitely want to go back to a shallow bar situation out there. To be the worst thing that could happen to us.
The Federal Department of the Environment has confirmed it is investigating whether the dredging activity is having a significant impact on the protected Gippsland Lakes wetlands. State MPs Darren Chester and Philip Davis have written to the Victorian Government asking for it to investigate the crab numbers and its impact on the lakes.
We've got to stop being defensive, admit we've got a problem, and then make some constructive moves towards investigation, design, and have a commitment by the state and federal government to fix it.
Cheryl Hall with that report.